Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big, warm, Ice Week welcome to Joost Bijsterveld, Director of Global Customer Experiences, and Guy Lomas, Head of Global Customer Experiences, both from Philips.
Thanks, Peter. I'm Guy.
And my name is Joost.
And we're responsible for over 3,000 events that get produced every year at Philips.
Yeah, and those events you can categorize in two big buckets. One is the health systems shows, a lot of scientific conferences that we attend to with our health systems products. And then we have our personal health products like the Philips Sonicare toothbrushes, our beauty products, our male grooming products like One Blade, the Philips air fryers. So that segment is then covered in what we call personal health.
And today we're here to talk about how we really changed the rules at IFA with the stand that we created there. So Joost,
yes,
why don't you tell these lovely people all about how we plan for IFA every year?
Okay, so we start in December with planning. So that's what we did here as well. In 2018, we had a very successful IFA. So we had about 40,000 people visiting, and traditionally what we do is every business group has their own area on the show floor, and we add experience to that, and we have a big central experience to connect all the dots. And this year we thought, because 2018 was really good, we thought let's do the same thing, but because there's always a way to make life better, do it better, bolder and bigger. So that process, we had about 3 months to think about that. And then in December we had a workshop and we planned this all out. We had all the ideas lined up, the planning was done. And then we had a follow-up workshop sometime in March, I think. And that's where you also joined.
I do remember that one.
Yeah. Well, do you remember what happened?
Well, I looked at the plans and I thought it looked really good. But I was trying to think, how do we make Philips look different and bigger and better? And actually, how do we present ourselves in a way that our customers see us and use us every day? So my suggestion was that rather than you do a evolution, you go with a revolution and you create a completely immersive environment like nobody has ever seen before.
Yes, and I loved you for that. Because it actually meant that if we would do that is we could almost start all over. So I asked, shall we ask our leaders first?
Yes.
So I was very confident that they will go for this easy route.
Yes.
So what happened?
So I went to Roy Jacobs, who is the the head of personal health, and asked him, would you like to go for an evolution or would you like to go for a revolution or a revolution, as we would say? And he said, Guy, it's very important that we present ourselves as one Philips going forward. So I'm going for the revolution. Please make it happen. I have every confidence in you. So of course, Joost, I had every confidence that you could also pull it off.
Yeah, and luckily we had about 3 months preparation time because the build actually starts in July. So that was a very interesting time of the year, I must say. But in the end, I think we did something spectacular and we actually delivered on your vision.
Yeah.
So do you remember what that vision was?
Well, I wanted you to create a home, a real home. And to give it a theme and a message, we thought we'd come up with the idea that the Philips family lived in that home, which were a very modern family, and that they would be preparing for a housewarming party because they'd only just moved in. And so every single guest that went to that home would be invited onto the Philips stand. But of course, all of those guests were early.
Yes, but that was very good news because then they could help out. So actually all the guests were welcomed with a massive projection mapped house. They were walked through the doors, and instead of seeing a traditional show floor, they saw a real house with real people that were actually chatting to them and inviting them. Oh, come on and help me get ready. You're a little bit early for the housewarming party, but let's just go, and you can use the air fryer to make some French fries, or you can, here's the vacuum cleaner, our Speed Pro Max, and help clean the house.
Yeah, because we're all friends.
Yes.
Yeah, and we need to prepare for the party. So you know what? Rather than us keep talking to them about it, they're not going to get it. Let's get them to watch the video instead.
So that definitely brings back memories.
It certainly does. I remember seeing mum and dad in the kitchen surrounded by so many people helping them on the air fryers.
Yeah, that was really cool. And the grandparents, they were doing a clean challenge in the living room with the Speed Pro Max.
And auntie and uncle, I think they were bouncing around on the bed, waking up, sleeping better, And then the daughter.
Yeah, the daughter and a friend, they were getting ready for the party. They, of course, took forever. Yeah. And they were cleaning their clothes and doing their hair.
Loads of people in the mirrors taking all the selfies and everything. And then the son and his boyfriend making themselves all spruced up with the razors and the Sonicare toothbrushes. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely was. So, and to make that credible, we even developed loads of backstories. So we actually had a whole diagram of who was related to whom, and that made it much more credible. Also for the actors, it helped them to really be the character.
Yeah, because we had the daughter waving over to her brother and saying hello all the time, and of course them chatting away. And the other thing was you should tell them about the characters. So we had to have 2 sets of actors, right?
Yeah, everybody, because we were always on, so the actors were always there. So we made sure that all their clothing was very outspoken, and that we cast like almost twins. So we had the main characters, but everybody had an understudy, and they were alternating. So that every time that we had them in the room, and we actually even directed how they would go and how they would return and make the switch, so that it was very seamless, or just like you would expect in a Disney environment or in a theme park.
And of course, they were all preparing for the housewarming party. So all of those actors, they all had their own special little turn at the end of the day when we brought the cake out every day. And of course, it was done at the time when everything gets a little bit more quiet, when we'd normally do happy hour or healthy hour. In the Philips stand, of course, we had a housewarming party with a DJ and everything. So that was pretty fun and exciting too. Every single day, a party on the Philips booth at 4:30, 5 o'clock. Right?
Yeah, that rocked. It was really, really good.
So let's talk about the journey, though. Let's talk about what it really took to get us there, Joost.
Yeah, so as I told you, we start in December normally, and then we work with a good group of people, about 15 people that are working dedicated on this show, and they are supported by a whole range of agencies. So we have an experiential agency, we have of course a stand builder, an AV partner, and for this particular show we also brought in a specialist company to look after all the projection mapping that we did. And then of course you need to do all the script writing and make sure that you do the casting, and scripts need to be approved by our legal and regulatory people, because we're a health company. Everything to the accessories, how all the rooms look, that needed to be designed quite early, because they were also being shot for the projection mapping, so that what happens in the front also is reflected when the doors were opened.
Yeah.
So the build starts about...
But 1 second here. I remember the biggest shock about doing this immersive environment was the fact that you had to teach all these actors to become this new character, right?
Yes.
So they had to have huge scripts, and they had to be totally believable behind the scenes, right? Otherwise, it just fell flat.
No, storytelling is very important, and they, as I said, they need to be the character to be credible there.
Yeah.
Because we want it to be very authentic.
Yeah. So when did the build actually start?
About 6 to 8 weeks. So we move in beginning of July, and the show is end of August, so the first week of September. So it's about six weeks, a full build, and it's not just the consumer hall, because we also have a big dealer area and a crew area, and we have meeting rooms, and we do the press conference on our stand that is then overnight turned into a dealer area. We have a retail area as well. So it's about, what do you think, 5,000?
It's about 5,000 square meters, and you'd say a third of it is the consumer area, a third of it is probably the dealer area, and then a third of it is kind of retail shops, behind the scenes, meeting rooms, and of course we have 600 crew.
Yeah.
So we had to make sure we're catering for them all the time too. So big proposition and lots of logistics.
Yeah. So we pulled it off in the end with a very short preparation time, and I think we delivered on your brief. So do you remember what you felt when you first saw the set of the Philips house.
I have to admit, when I first came into the building, I did think that this is probably the most beautiful on-brand house that I could possibly live in. I thought that the actors were crazy, if I'm honest with you, being pretty noisy and jumping around everywhere. I thought that the actual volume full stop was like sky high in terms of the activity that was going on. There was a lady, an old lady, stood on her head rehearsing lines in a corner somewhere, which amused me greatly. Actually, Joost, I hated it. I couldn't actually imagine myself in that environment. It reminded me of the day I went to Disneyland at 18 years old and had to hug Mickey Mouse, and just it didn't feel comfortable for me. So although you did a flawless job and so did all the agencies, for me, it wasn't working, and that really, really worried me because I thought if we have a lot of German consumers, how into this are they going to be? Because we've just created the most immersive environment you could ever have in your life.
Yeah, so what did Roy think? Because he said, let's go for the revolution.
Right, just in case you forget, Roy's our leader, and he was right behind us with the One Philips Revolution, and he walked onto the stand, and he clearly wasn't so sure. And then he looked around and said, well, where are all the products? Where is all the product signage, and where are the QR codes, and how is anyone going to buy this stuff? So we made some rapid changes behind the scenes, admittedly, and we made sure that all the new products all stood out a little bit more than they did through the scripting. And we also turned the sound down, and we adjusted the lighting experience, right? But a show's success is really about what the customers think. So, Joost, why don't you explain what the customers thought?
Well, I think we were all a little bit nervous the first time when the doors were opened, but what actually happened is the doors opened, people were looking at that grand house, and of that house, the doors opened and they saw that house there, no actors, and our Ask Me team, which is a special team that we handpick and that welcomed everybody, and they absolutely loved it. It was amazing to see because they really felt that they could play around. They felt at home. It was so different from what the competition was doing and what they could see in the other halls. And we got feedback like it's the best of all the booths so far. Very colorful, energetic. They said it's the most unique and interactive booth. Because they could try out everything that they could see, so they could pick up. They would really be drawn into the action, into the set, which they really liked, and they really felt that everybody was doing an amazing job. So first signs were very, very promising. Of course, we measure everything that we do, and we have special systems for that, and we do a lot of effort in doing it. So we're happy with those results.
I think so. You could not be happy with them. This year, we actually hosted over 50,000 people across the Philips booth in how many days?
I think 6.
Yeah. And that was just incredible because there was a 28% increase year over year. From the previous year. That's huge, right? 30,000 of those, slightly more than 30,000, actually engage with us. So that means that 61% of the people on the, as they walked through the booth, they actually sat and talked to or engaged with or played with some of our products. And at Philips, that's what it's all about, right? We want people trying and testing and understanding how great our products really are. And actually, on average, they stayed for 13 minutes and 21 seconds, Joost, I like to be exact here, on the booth. And that is remarkable because we monitor very carefully. And actually, we have why don't you tell everybody, we have a special way of encouraging people to stay in the booth by making people's lives better as a consequence of the time they spend, right?
Yeah, so what we do is we use tokens like this. So every time that we have interacted with somebody, we give them a token like this. And it represents a value of €1. And they go to an area on the stand, and we have 3 charities. One of them is the Philips Foundation, and people can leave their token there and enter a prize draw as well. and we will donate on their behalf €1 to the charity they've chosen. So this is something we started in 2017, I think, and we do it across our shows, also health system shows, and we already have been able to donate, I think, over €200,000 to local charities on the behalf of our visitors. And that's one of our drivers for where we drive retention on our stands. People really appreciate it, and it is very in line with our brand promise.
Yeah, which is to make lives better, of course. So on average, we're seeing massive increases because of the token experiences, but also we also saw massive increases online too. So we had a 9 minute 51 seconds average spend time on IFA.com online. We also had people buying from our shop, which was excellent online, and also from our on-booth shop too. So that's all really good news. Exceptional show for Philips. So why don't we give some top tips before we go, because we're running out of time, of what we think are kind of some of the best things to be successful in a booth.
So what's your first one?
Well, I would say for sure go immersive. With COVID, people can view virtually very easily now. People are used to going online. People want to touch and feel the products and become part of your brand. And we're a very caring brand, so that's very important to us. But whatever you do, go immersive, because that's the most engaging thing possible.
I would agree. I also think it's very important that you're credible and genuine, so that you don't only sell to people, but that you really try to connect with them. That's very important.
And that's why we make life better, and that's why we have so many people all across our booth just helping you wherever you can, right?
Yeah. So what's the third thing that we can give?
I think that it's really important to onboard everyone. So even though we went for a revolution versus an evolution, there were people that really wanted the evolution. They wanted their own business category and a focus there. And I can understand that, because that's how we used to do it. And it was always successful, so why should we change? So making sure that all the stakeholders are aligned, but also that all the delivery team have got your exact vision too, for me is absolutely essential, because then they can pull it off.
Yeah, I agree. And then if you do that, what's key is to measure everything, and that has proven as a great was a great benefit for us, I think, in a lot of discussions, because you can take out the emotion, but also you can prove that actually what we do has an effect. So very good to have a baseline of measurements, set targets, and compare year on year, so that you see if you're growing or not.
So I think running through them quickly now, people like people, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to physically go to a show, then that's because you want to be engaged, you want hands-on, you want some experience. So great casting, a fantastic Ask Me team. We have this whole team of helpers who say, ask me anything, but they literally do help you everywhere around the booth. And finding lots of different ways to engage with people is really key.
Yeah, and on top of that, I think it's about stories. People love stories, and if they can go into a different world and they get it immediately, because that is quite crucial, then that's a very good way of engaging with people.
I think so too. We believe in daily kickoffs, and we run them on every single booth that we run, big and small. So every member of the crew has to come in half an hour before the stand opens, and we literally take them through what's happening that day, what happened the previous day, what our results are like, and then we do fun motivational things with them and have stars of the day, etc. And I think that's essential.
Yeah, and the final thing, I think a crucial thing is to repeat, to improve, and to dump. So, so repeat what works, improve wherever you can, and dump what doesn't work. And I think that's very good, because that will allow you to create impact, drive scale, and also create a return on investment if you do it in that way.
Yeah, and at Philips, we definitely create experiences to repeat them, so that we have very efficient ways of working. So I think our time's up.
Yeah,
so
fast.
Really fast. So thank you very much for listening to us.